After studying this module, you should be able to know briefly about Hinduism and its history, know about the types of Hinduism or Hindu religion as it is followed in our country, differentiate between religion, religiosity and spiritualism, know about the various Hindu texts and guides that people use to follow their daily practices, their life, know about the types of Hindu texts and guides which are available, the scriptures which are available to people using which they guide their daily life. Learn about the various Hindu rituals that are, some of these are done regularly in our daily routine and some we do on occasions, special occasions like marriage, death, childbirth, etc. And learn about the significance of these rituals in a human being's life according to the Hindu philosophy. Hinduism, also called as the Sanatan Dharma, is one of the oldest living religions of the world. Also, it has 1 billion followers and is the world's third largest religion after Christianity and Islam. It is one of the most predominant religions found and followed in the Indian subcontinent. There are various diverse traditions of this Hindu religion that you can see, that is Shaivism, Vaishnavism and Shaktism. However, in the present times only 2 of these schools survive, which are the Vedanta and the Yoga. Hindu religion prescribes a wide range of laws and behaviors which are based on karma, dharma and societal norms to be followed by its members, basically those who are born in the Hindu religion. These are to be followed by all its members regardless of their class, caste or sect. As you are aware of that Hindu religion is based on has a caste system associated with it, and thus irrespective of the caste, class or sect, every member needs to follow it. Even though Hinduism is a philosophical point of view and is not rigid, however, Hinduism cannot be attributed to a single founder. Rather, it has diverse beginnings. Some also view it as a fusion of different Indian cultures and traditions such as the Vedic traditions, the Indus Valley civilization, popular or local traditions. Hinduism also recognizes numerous divine beings subordinate to the supreme being or regards them as lower manifestations of it. Other notable characteristics of Hinduism include a belief in the reincarnation, that is, once a person dies, he again gets a new birth in this world, and karma, that is the philosophy of action, that whatever you do will come back to you, as well as the belief in personal duty, also called as dharma. Let's come to the types of Hinduism or the Hindu religion as it is experienced and practiced by people. How many types are there? According to McDaniel 2007, he distinguishes 6 generic types of Hinduism to accommodate the variety of views on the different subjects. One of these is folk Hinduism, which is based on the local traditions and cults of local deities and extending back to prehistoric times, or at least the time prior to written Vedas. The second is the Shrota or Vedic Hinduism as practiced by the traditionalist Brahmins. The third is the Vedantic Hinduism, which includes Advaita Vedanta based on the philosophical approach of the Upanishads. Next is the Yogic Hinduism, which is especially based on the sect of the Yoga Sutras given by Patanjali. Next comes the Dharmic Hinduism or the daily morality, which is based on the law of karma and upon societal norms such as Vivah, example the Hindu marriage customs. And the last is the Bhakti or devotional practices as they are regularly practiced in our daily lives. With the onset of the British Raj, the colonization of India by the British, there also started a Hindu Renaissance in the 19th century, which profoundly changed the understanding of Hinduism in both India and the West. Indology as an academic discipline of studying Indian culture from a European perspective was established in the 19th century, led by the scholars such as Max Muller and John Woodruff. They brought Vedic,
Puranic, and the Tantric literature and philosophy to Europe and the United States. Western Orientalists searched for the essence of the Indian religions, discerning this in the Vedas, and meanwhile creating the notion of Hinduism as a unified body of religious praxis and the popular picture of mystical India. This idea of a Vedic essence was taken over by the Hindu reform movements as the Brahmo Samaj, which was supported for a while by the Unitarian Church, together with the ideas of universalism and perennialism, the idea that all religions share a common mystic ground. This Hindu modernism, with proponents like Vivekananda, Aurobindo, and Radhakrishnan, became central in the popular understanding of Hinduism. Influential 20th century Hindus were Ramana Maharishi, B.K.S. Iyengar, Paramhans Yoganand, Prabhupada, founder of ISKCON, Sri Chinmay, Swami Rama, and others who translated, reformulated, and presented Hinduism's foundational texts for contemporary audiences in the new iterations, raising the profiles of yoga and Vedanta in the West and attracting followers and attention in India and abroad. In the 20th century, Hinduism also gained prominence as a political force and as a source for national identity in India. With origins traced back to the establishment of the Hindu Mahasabha in the 1910s, the movement grew with the formulation and development of the Hindutva ideology in the following decades. The establishment of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh (RSS) in the 1925 and the entry and the later success of the RSS offshoots Jan Sangh and the Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP) in the electoral politics in the post-independence India. Hindu religiosity plays an important role in the nationalist movement. McDaniel 2007 distinguishes six generic types of Hinduism to accommodate a variety of views on different subjects. Folk Hinduism, based on local traditions and cults of local deities. Shrota or Vedic Hinduism, as practiced by traditionalist Brahmins. Vedic Hinduism, including Advaita Vedanta, based on the philosophical approach of the Upanishads. Yogic Hinduism, especially the sect based on Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Dharmic Hinduism or daily morality based on karma and upon societal norms. And bhakti or devotional practices. Hindu religions and Hindu religiosity. Michaels distinguishes three Hindu religions and four forms of Hindu religiosity. The three Hindu religions are Brahmanic, that is, Sanskritic Hinduism, a polytheistic, ritualistic, priestly religion that centers on an extended family, domestic, and sacrificial rituals and appeals to a corpus of Vedic text as an authority. Second, folk religions, and third, tribal religions, polytheistic, sometimes animistic, local religions with an extensive oral tradition, often in tension with Brahmanic Sanskritic Hinduism. Founded religions, that is, salvation religions with monastic communities, usually ascetic, often anti Brahmanic. There are three subgroups that can be distinguished. Sectarian religions, for example, Vaishnavism and Shaivism, syncretically founded religions, Hindu Islamic, that is Sikhism, Hindu Buddhist, that is Newer Buddhism, Hindu Christian, that is mixed religions like Neo Hinduism. Founded religions are Guruism, groups like Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and Transcendental Meditation, Satya Sai Baba, and ISKCON and Osho. The four forms of Hindu religiosity are ritualism, that is, Vedic Brahmanistic domestic and sacrificial ritualism, but also some forms of tantrism. This is the classical karma marg, that is, the path of action. Spiritualism, that is, intellectual religiosity aimed at individual liberation, often under the guidance of a guru. This is the classical Gyan Marg. Devotionalism, mystical worship of a god, as in Bhakti or Krishnaism. This is the classical Bhakti Marg. Heroism, a form of religiosity rooted in militaristic traditions. This is called as Virya Marg. Hindu rituals. In Hinduism, yajna is a ritual of offerings accompanied by chanting of Vedic mantras. Also, worship, prayer, praise, offering, and oblation sacrifice, according to Monier Williams, derived from the practice in the Vedic times. Yagna is an ancient ritual of offering and sublimating the Havan Samagri or the herbal preparations in the fire. The sublime meaning of the word yagna is derived from the Sanskrit word yaj, which has a threefold meaning of worship of deities, that is Dev Pujna, unity, that is Saugati Karna, and charity, that is Dan. An essential element is the ritual of fire, the divine Agni, into which oblations are poured, as everything that is offered into the fire is believed to reach God. Unlike Vedic yagna, Zoroastrian yasna has to do with the water rather than fire. Vedic yagnas are typically performed by four Vedic priests, that is, the Hotar, the Advaryu, the Ugata, and the Brahman. The right to perform a detailed yagna or homa is received by an initiation ceremony known as Yagnopavita. In this ceremony, a sacred cord is vested to the initiate, symbolizing this right. The functions associated with the priest are: the priest recites invocations and litanies drawn from the Rig Veda. The priest or the hotar is also supposed to contemplate on and identified with the deity of the speech, that is, the fire or Agni. The Advaryu is the priest's assistant and is in charge of the physical details of the rituals like measuring the ground, building the altar, etc., mentioned in the Yajur Veda. The Advaryu is supposed to contemplate on and identify with the deity of the eye, that is, the sun or Surya. The Udgatar is the chanter of the hymns set to the melodies drawn from the Sam Veda. The Udgatar himself contemplates on the vital breath. The Brahman is the superintendent of the entire performance and is responsible for correcting mistakes by means of supplementary verses invoking Vishwadevas or the celestial devas. Therefore, the only god that protects the yagna with which the Brahman has to identify himself with is the deity of the mind, that is, the moon or Chandra. There is usually one or occasionally three fires lit in the center of the offering ground. Oblations are offered into the fire. Among the ingredients offered as oblations are large quantities of ghee, milk, grains, cakes, and soma. The duration of the yagna depends on its type. Some last only for a few minutes, whereas others can take hours, days, or even years. Some yagnas are performed privately, while others include a large number of people in the audience. Post Vedic yagnas where milk products, fruits, flowers, cloth, and money are offered, are called Homa or Havanam. A typical Hindu marriage involves a yagna, where Agni is taken to be witness of the marriage. Rituals associated with temple worship in Hinduism are called as agamic, while those involving communication with the divinity through Agni are considered to be Vedic. Temple rites in the modern day Hinduism are a combination of both Vedic and agamic rituals. The ritualistic portion of the Hindu scriptures is called Karm Kand. Parts of Vedas which describe or discuss yagnas fall into this portion. Types of yagnas: 400 yagnas are described in the Vedas, of which 21 are deemed compulsory. These compulsory yagnas are called as Nitya Karmas. The rest of the yagnas are optional and are performed for Kamya Karma, that is, for particular wishes and benefits. The Upasana Yagna, though not a part of these 21, is still compulsory. Out of the 21 Nitya Karmas, only the Agnihotra and the Upasana are to be performed twice daily, at dawn and at dusk. The remaining yagnas are performed over the course of the year. The more complicated the yagna, the less frequently it is performed. The most complex ones need to be performed only once in a lifetime. The first 7 yagnas are called Pak yagnas or cooked sacrifices. The next 7 are called Havira yagna or oblations, that is, burnt offerings related yagnas, and the remaining 7 are called as Som yagya. Some of the yagnas performed during a person's lifetime are the Pak yagnas, which involve consecrating cooked items, and Som yagnas. These involve the extraction, utility, and the consumption of soma, that is, an extract of a particular chosen tree. The remaining 16 yagnas, which are one time sanskars or rituals with mantras that are done at different times of life. They are Garbhadhana, Pumsavana, Simanta, Jatakarma, Namakarna, Annaprashan, Chudakarma, Nishkarma, Karnaveda, Vidya Arambha, Upanayana, Keshanta, Snataka, and Vivaha, Nisheka, and Antyeshti. These are specified by the Griha Sutras. Hindu followers are guided by the texts which are classified as Shruti, that is revealed, and Smriti, that is remembered. These texts consist of the philosophy, mythology, theology, Vedic yagna, temple building, etc. The major scriptures in Shruti are the Vedas and the Upanishads. The major scriptures in Smriti are the Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, Manusmriti, and Agamas. Shruti is the body of sacred text comprising the central canon of Hinduism and is one of the 3 main sources of Dharma. These sacred works span much of the history of Hinduism, beginning with some of the earliest known Hindu texts and ending in the early modern period with the later Upanishads. This literature differs from the other sources of Hindu philosophy, particularly Smriti or remembered text, because of the purely divine origin of Shruti. This belief of divinity is particularly prominent within the Mimamsa tradition. The initial literature is traditionally believed to be a direct revelation of the cosmic sound of truth heard by the ancient rishis, who then translated what was heard into something understandable by humans. Smriti also denotes non Shruti texts and is generally seen as secondary in authority to Shruti. The literature which comprises the Smriti was composed after the Vedas around 500 BC. Smriti also denotes tradition in the sense that it portrays the traditions of the rules on dharma, especially those of lawful virtuous persons. This is understood by looking at the traditional texts such as the Ramayana, in which the traditions of the main characters portray a strict adherence to or observance of dharma. Hindu practices. Hindu practices include daily rituals such as puja or worship and recitations, annual festivals, and occasional pilgrimages. Select group of ascetics leave the common world and engage in a lifelong ascetic practices to achieve moksha. Puja is a prayer ritual performed by the Hindus to host, honor, and worship one or more deities or to spiritually celebrate an event. Sometimes spelled phonetically as puja or puja, it may honor or celebrate the presence of special guests or their memories after they pass away. The word puja comes from Sanskrit and means reverence, honor, homage, adoration, and worship. Puja rituals are also held by Buddhists, Jains, and Sikhs. In Hinduism, puja is done on a variety of occasions, frequency, and settings. It may include daily puja done in the home, to occasional temple ceremonies and annual festivals, to few lifetime events such as birth of a baby or a wedding, or to begin a new venture. The two main areas where puja is performed are in the home and at temples to mark certain stages of life, events, or some festivals like Durga Puja and Lakshmi Puja. Puja is not mandatory, it may be a routine daily affair for some Hindus, periodic ritual for some, and infrequent for other Hindus. In some temples, various pujas may be performed daily at various times of the day. In other temples, it may be occasional. Puja varies according to the school of Hinduism. Within a given school, puja may vary by region, occasion, deity honored, and steps followed. Puja is typically performed by a Hindu worshipper alone, though sometimes in the presence of a priest who is well versed in procedure and hymns. In temples and priest assisted events, puja, fruit, food, and sweets may be included as offerings to the deity, which after the prayers become prasad, that is, the blessed food shared by all present at the puja. Significance of puja. In the earliest texts describing Vedic puja, the significance of puja was to host the priest so that he could make direct requests to the god. These requests were for prosperity, treasures, enjoyments of a good household, vigor, wealth in cattle, and possession of good horses. In contrast to Vedic pujas, the significance of deity pujas shifted from petitions and external goals to the experience of oneness with the deities and their spiritual essence. It became a form of yoga whose final result aimed to be the consciousness of God through homage to God. Nevertheless, even with this evolved theoretical spiritual significance, for many people, puja continued to be a vehicle to petition desires and appeals such as good health of one's child, speedy recovery from illness, success in venture envisioned, or such. Zimmer relates puja to yantras, with the rituals helping the devotee focus on the spiritual concepts. Puja in Hinduism, claims Zimmer, is a path and process of transformation of the consciousness, where the devotee and the spiritual significance of the deity are brought together. This ritual puja process in different parts of India is considered to be liberating, releasing, purifying, and a form of yoga of spirit and emotions. Worship. Hindu practices generally involve seeking awareness of God and sometimes also seeking blessings from the devas. Therefore, Hinduism has developed numerous practices meant to help one think of divinity in the midst of everyday life. Mantras are invocations, praise, and prayers that, through their meaning, sound, and chanting style, help a devotee focus the mind on holy thoughts or express devotion to God and the deities. Many devotees perform morning ablutions at the bank of a sacred river while chanting the Gayatri Mantra or Mahamrityunjay Mantra. Many adopt jap as their primary spiritual practice. Yoga is a Hindu discipline which trains the consciousness for tranquility, health, and spiritual insight. This is done through a system of postures and exercises to practice control of the body and the mind. According to Vedanta, God as Sat Chit Anand is perfect existence, consciousness, bliss, whereas the manifest universe, which is a play of Shakti or energy, is temporal, the immutable principle, or reality is beyond time. God is not exactly a being. It cannot be described, quantified, reasoned, or explained, all of which exist on a differentiated basis only directly experienced as itself. Shakti or energy as an abstraction is eternal, but its manifestations are continually changing. Therefore, in Hinduism, God is represented in both male and female form. The male, as Satchit Anand, is immutable, the female Shakti is temporal. While being omnipresent and immanent in reality, Satchit Anand is formless. Shakti is manifested but also exists in an unexpressed form inside of Satchit Anand. Therefore, even if the universe ceases to exist at one point, it will eventually be reborn because Shakti in an immaterial form is also eternal. Hymns or bhajans. A bhajan is any type of devotional song. It has no fixed form. It may be as simple as a mantra or kirtan or as sophisticated as the Drupad or Kriti with music based on classical ragas and talas. It is normally lyrical, expressing love for the divine. Anecdotes and episodes from scriptures, the teachings of saints, and descriptions of gods have all been the subject of bhajans. The Drupad style, Sufi Qawwali, and the Kirtan or song in the Haridasi tradition are related to bhajan. Nanak, Kabir, Meera, Narottam Das, Surdas, and Tulsi Das are notable composers. Hindu music is as old as the Sanskrit literature itself, and as written science, the Hindu system of music is the oldest in the world. The vast majority of Hindus engage in religious rituals on a daily basis. Most Hindus observe religious rituals at home, but this varies greatly among regions, villages, and individuals. Devout Hindus perform daily rituals such as worshipping at dawn after bathing, usually at a family shrine, and typically includes lighting a lamp and offering foodstuffs before the images of deities. Recitation from religious scripts, singing devotional hymns, meditation, chanting mantras, reciting scriptures, etc. A notable feature in religious ritual is the division between purity and pollution. Religious acts presuppose some degree of impurity or defilement for the practitioner, which must be overcome or neutralized before or during ritual procedures. Purification, usually with water, is thus a typical feature of the most religious action. Other characteristics include a belief in the efficacy of sacrifice and concept of merit gained through the performance of charity or good works that will accumulate over time and reduce sufferings in the next world. Occasions like birth, marriage, and death involve what are often elaborate sets of religious customs. In Hinduism, life cycle rituals include Annaprashan, that is, a baby's first intake of solid food, Upanayanam, that is, sacred thread ceremony undergone by the upper caste children at their initiation of formal education, and Shraddha, that is, ritual of treating people to a meal in return for prayers to God to give peace to the soul of the deceased. On death, cremation is considered obligatory for all except sannyasis, hijra, and children under 5. Cremation is typically performed by wrapping the corpse in the cloth and burning it on a pyre. Pilgrimages. Pilgrimages are voyages taken by Hindus to their deities' temples which have historic significance in their scriptures. Mostly, these are hard to reach places and requires great physical and mental strength to accomplish the pilgrimage. People go to such places with great belief that they will attain moksha and find a place in the heaven. The following pilgrimage sites are the most famous among Hindu devotees. These are old holy cities such as Kashi, Allahabad, Haridwar, Rishikesh, Mathura, Vrindavan, and Ayodhya. Char Dham, which is known as the famous four pilgrimage site, include Puri, Rameshwaram, Dwarka, and Badrinath. And Kumbh Mela, which is the pitcher festival, is one of the holiest of the Hindu pilgrimages that is held once in every 12 years. The location is rotated among Allahabad, Haridwar, Nashik, and Ujjain. Major temple cities are Puri, which hosts the Jagannath temple, Katra, which is the home to Vaishno Devi temple. There are three comparatively recent temples, which are Shirdi, the home to Sai Baba, Tirumala Tirupati, which is the home to Venkateshwara temple, and Sabarimala, where Swami Ayappan is worshipped. There are two Shakti Peeths which are more worshipped, that is the Kalighat and the Kamakhya. Pilgrimage is not mandatory in Hinduism, though many adherents undertake them. Symbolism. Hinduism has a developed system of symbolism and iconography to represent the sacred in art, architecture, literature, and worship. These symbols gain their meaning from the scriptures, mythology, or cultural traditions. The symbol Om, which represents the Par-Brahman, and the swastik sign, which symbolizes auspiciousness, have grown to represent Hinduism itself, while other markings such as tilak identify a follower of the faith. Hinduism also associates many symbols which include the lotus, the chakra, and the veena with particular deities. Rituals and self realization. All rituals performed in the Hindu tradition are aimed at becoming one with the Supreme God. Through various forms of worship, yagnas, pujas, and singing bhajans, people try different means to achieve the bliss of oneness. All paths lead to one goal of Satchit Anand. Self realization can only occur when the mind is calm and concentrated, reflecting the qualities of self within. Illumination includes a variety of consciousness. The contents in the field of consciousness become more and more subtle as meditation deepens. Eventually, there exists consciousness of deep joy or peace, and finally, all that remains is the consciousness of self. Self realization is achieved through four types of spiritual practices. These are the Karma Yoga, the Raj Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga, and the Jnana Yoga.
Now let us come to the summary of this topic that we've learned, that is on Hinduism. Let's come to the first point, which is Hinduism, also called as Sanatan Dharma, is one of the oldest living religions of the world, and it has 1 billion followers and is the third largest religion after Christianity and Islam. It is the most predominant religion found and followed in the Indian subcontinent and has various diverse traditions such as Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Shaktism are all included under it. In the 20th century, Hinduism also gained prominence as a political force and a source of national identity in India, with origins traced back to the establishment of the Hindu Mahasabha in the 1910s. The movement grew with the formulation and development of the Hindutva ideology in the following decades. Finally, the establishment of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, that is the RSS, in 1925, and the entry and the later success of RSS offshoots such as the Jan Sangh and the Bharatiya Janata Party in the electoral politics in the post-independence India. Hindu religiosity plays an important role in the nationalist movement. In Hinduism, yagna is a ritual offering accompanied by chanting of Vedic mantras, which also means worship, prayer, praise, offering, oblation, sacrifice. Yagna is an ancient ritual of offering and sublimating the havan samagri, that is the herbal preparations, in the fire. The sublime meaning of the word yagna is derived from the Sanskrit verb yagya, which has a threefold meaning of the worship of that is the worship of the deities, that is Dev Pujana, unity and charity. Hindu practices include daily rituals such as puja or worship and recitations, annual festivals and occasional pilgrimages. Select group of ascetics leave the common world and engage in lifelong ascetic practices to achieve moksha. They also recite hymns and go for pilgrimages to the temples and places of ritual significance. Hinduism has also a developed system of symbolism and iconography to represent the sacred in art, architecture, literature and worship. These symbols gain their meaning from their scriptures, mythology or cultural traditions. Some of the symbols are Om, such as, and Tilak on the forehead.